Hi, and welcome to today's episode of PianoTV. So I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I just spent about a week updating the webpage and making it more functional, giving it like better categories and breakdowns and everything like that. And I also created a Start Here page on the website. And since we have over 250 videos, which is crazy to think about, I figured it was time to get more organized with the information that we have on this channel. So that's what this video is all about. So let's get started. All right, so here is the website. It looks on the front page pretty much exactly like it used to, but the new thing that I want to take you on a tour of today is the Start Here function. So this is just a page I created for those of you who maybe have never explored the blog before, who are new to the website, that kind of thing. So before getting into all of the lesson stuff, the first thing you're going to want to check out is the About Us section, which we finally added Logan the editor to. He has not existed in the About section for the last, 2.5 years this channel's existed, and I feel ashamed about that. But we finally added him. And now you can kind of learn a little bit more about our backgrounds. Okay, so if you're a 100% complete beginner, have no idea where to start, no idea what to do with piano, and you're kind of interested in self-teaching, the first thing that you want to do is take a look at some of the piano myths that exist out there. So one of them being that you can master piano in a year. No, it's not going to happen. It's a many-year process to become skilled at piano. Another thing that I hear a lot from people who haven't played before is that they have some complaint with their hand size. Like either their hands are too big, or their hands are too small, or they're too wide, or narrow, or whatever it happens to be. You don't need to have the perfect hand shape to play piano. I've seen tons of people with weird hand shapes be fine with it. I mean, case in point, take a look at Elton John. And another myth slash complaint against learning piano that I hear is that I don't have time to practice for 3 hours each day or however much. The reality is that most people don't have enough time to practice for hours every day, and you can totally learn how to play an instrument even if you're only doing 20 or 30 minutes a day, especially when you're just starting. Okay, so keeping along the same lines as you're a complete piano beginner, the next thing that I'm going to want you to check out is a few of the Q&A videos we've done on this channel. There's an entire Q&A page, which if you want to get even more of them, go there. But these are what I consider to be the 3 most important questions and answers before you even open a book, before you even start learning. Do you need a piano teacher? How long does it actually take to learn piano? And what should you be expecting in the first 3 to 6 months of lessons, whether or not you're going to a teacher or you're self-taught? So with some of your questions answered, it would be then time to move on to actual tutorials. So we have an entire category, the preparatory beginner category, which you can find here. And that has basically an entire, I don't know, there's probably 50 or so videos dedicated to this level. And it's not just tutorials on playing songs. You'll find things like rhythm lessons, but you'll also find tips for practicing piano, how to find sheet music at your level, and other kind of related but not specifically tutorial type videos. I kind of designed this to be pretty consecutive, so if you wanted to go through everything in order, it should make sense, and it should take 6 months to a year, depending on how much time you have. So if you're just getting started, these are the first 3 videos that I would start with, figuring out how to, these are really old videos too, so hopefully they're not too bad. But how to have good posture at the piano, learning rhythm, reading notes, these are the basics that are gonna get you ready to start your first piece. And if you wanna explore a couple other videos before you get into all the tutorials, you might wanna check out some practicing piano tips, because for most of us who are adult beginners at the piano, maybe we never had any musical experience growing up, we don't really know how to practice piano. So these 3 videos should get you started with how you should approach practice and give you some general tips for that. And then you might want to take a look at some level appropriate piano books as well. I tend to do piano book reviews for every grade and every level, so you might want to take a look at those. You can find those books here they are. So this page just has the book reviews for every level, for beginner level, and then I've got a grade 3 intermediate level book review kind of recommend as well, and then just some additional books. All right, so that's all well and good if you are a complete beginner. If you're just starting out, you don't know where to start, that should give you a lot of different things to look at to get you started on your piano journey. However, if you are using this website and you have been playing piano before, maybe for like a few years, I have a separate section here of just recommendations and videos you might want to check out based on having played for a few years. One thing that I find super common for people who've been playing for some amount of time is that motivation tends to become more of an issue. Because when we first start, there's a lot of like initial momentum and you're really excited and you're learning a new instrument and that's all well and good. But once you've been playing a while, it kind of becomes same old. And that initial burst of motivation can start to wane. So if you find that that's the case for you, you definitely want to check out these videos on motivation, these three specifically, but there's also an entire section on goals and motivation if this is something you struggle with. And of course, if you've been playing a while, your music book needs are going to be a little bit different, but again, just check out that same section over here on piano books to get my recommendations. But there's some other parts of the site that you might find helpful too, because one thing that I find with people who've been playing for a few years is they often get a little unsure about which direction to go. They're not sure what books to use. They're not sure what music is available to them. So I have some videos that address that. One thing you might want to check out is this by level grade section, because we talk about the difficulty rankings of certain pieces, for example. So say you're really into Bach and you want to learn some Bach music. You can find a page here that goes through Bach's main pieces and talks about which ones are the easiest and which ones are the most difficult, and then that'll give you a sense of maybe which Bach pieces you should be learning based on your level, just as an example. Another thing that you can check out are the different leveling systems that exist. So this would be in the About Musical Grades and Levels tab. So we have musical schools like the ABRSM and the RCM that take a massive amount of music and categorize it all into grades. So whether or not you actually do exams or anything like that, these are really good resources for choosing music based on your level. And it's pretty easy to figure out what level you're at just based on the difficulty of the pieces at each grade. So check those out. And another awesome resource is the Henley level system, which you can learn more about as well. The Henley level system is very similar. The only difference is it's not a music school. It's just essentially a ranking system, and it ranks the most important classical music. Another issue that can come up with people who have been playing for a few years is that you might start to notice gaps in your knowledge, and this just depends on how you learn. So say, for example, you spend a lot of time developing your ear and you learn how to do chords and you learn how to play pop songs by ear. You might find that your sight reading is lacking. So if that's the case, you're really good at ear training, but your reading is a little iffy, you might want to check out the basics section, and that will take you through the very beginning stages of learning how to read to more complicated tricks and stuff like that. In this theory and technique section, you'll find all of the individual components of music broken down. So not only do you have ear training and basics, but you also have a section dedicated to chords, a section on rhythm if you feel like your rhythm's kind of iffy. There's a small section, hopefully growing, I want to make more videos on these, but on harmony and composition. And then technique would be stuff like scales and finger exercises to strengthen your fingers. Okay, so we've explored being a complete beginner and what videos will be best for you. We've talked about being a more experienced piano player and what videos you might want to explore. Finally, I want to take a look at those of you who want to expand your musical knowledge. And I hope this is all of you, because this is the difference between just learning random pieces that mean nothing to you, like a sonatina, without having any knowledge of what a sonatina is, versus learning a piece, having understanding of who the composer is, what they were like, what era they were from, and what a sonatina is. It just gives you more depth of understanding, and I find that it will make you a more convincing performer as well. So using that sonatina example, say you are learning Clementi's Opus 36 number 1 sonatina in C major. It's a grade 3 level tutorial, and it's all well and good that you're working on the tutorial, you're learning the music. However, what else could you be learning to go along with this? Well, one thing you might want to do is learn more about who Clementi actually is. You might want to also take a look at what a sonatina actually is. So we have an entire video on Clementi's history and backstory. It's not too long, I think it's like 10 or 15 minutes. And that'll give you a good sense of who this man was, what era he was active in, and all of that good stuff. And then the sonatina video is going to take you through the form of a sonatina. So when you're playing it, it's not just like a stream of random notes. When you look at the music, it'll start to have shapes and structures you wouldn't have noticed before. I think it's a really good idea to do this kind of process with any song or any piece that you're learning, just because, again, it gives you more depth of understanding for what you're playing, and it's super interesting too. Another resource on the website that, if you haven't visited the website, you might not have seen it, is a practice piano ebook that I created like a year or two ago. It's pretty concise, but I find that it's very practical. It's got a lot of like actionable suggestions and stuff for practicing piano, and I've received tons of good feedback on this. People seem to really enjoy it. So if you're looking for more advice on practicing piano, if you want more information on like, this even has things on like how to set up your practice space or little stretches that you can do to avoid injury and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with it. It took me a lot of work to make, and yeah, I think that people tend to find it pretty useful. So you might want to check that out. And that is it for the Start Here tour. Otherwise, I highly encourage you to check out all of the different categories and tabs and stuff like that to explore whatever aspect of music that you're interested in exploring. Again, I tried to make this as user-friendly as I could, but if you have any suggestions on how this could be better, please let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for feedback for stuff like that. And that is all for today's tour through the new and updated website. As I mentioned earlier, please give me your feedback if you have any suggestions on how to make things better. And like if you change anything or anything like that. I always like reading your comments and seeing what you have to say about things like that. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and go check out the website. I'll catch you in the next video.
Tell him John have big hands or small hands.
They're really small and fat. He has super short fingers.